Good morning, Garden Church. That was kind of sad. Come on. Good morning, Garden Church. Thank you, thank you. My name is John Wiley, and it is my privilege to be up here this morning to share with you how the prayer ministry here at this church sustained me and uplifted me during one of the most difficult periods of my life. When I was in college, and I'm not going to say how long ago that was, maybe 1 or 2 decades ago, maybe two, um, I threw out my back playing basketball for 3 to 4 hours on back to back days. I know that was not my best decision, but if you're wondering, I balled out, okay? I balled everybody up. Um, so as the years passed, I would throw out my back more and more often. First, about once every 2 to 3 years, and then twice a year. And I noticed it would take longer and longer for me to recover to the point where I wasn't able to resume physical activity for about 4 to 5 weeks. Despite this, I was in denial that I wasn't a spring chicken anymore. Charlotte, you're supposed to say that I'm still a spring chicken. We worked on this. Okay. Oh, she gave me the double X. Okay. So I was in denial that I wasn't a spring chicken anymore, and I stubbornly continued to engage in physical activities that, in hindsight, added more stress to my spine and subsequently weakened my lower back region. One day back in March of this year, I did some stretching exercises that were more forceful and extreme than usual. I'm not sure if I was just frustrated or what, but the next morning, I could not put any weight on my left leg and I collapsed on the floor. It turns out that I had suffered a severely protruding bulging disc that was jutting out and impinging my nerves in my lower back, resulting in extreme pain in my left side, including my back, my behind, my hip, and sciatic pain shooting down my left leg. The pain was so intense that I was severely limited in many facets of life. I had difficulty putting on my shoes, so my daughter Charlotte actually had to tie them for me. And my wife Susan had to clip my toenails because I could not reach my feet. Who knew that when she vowed in sickness and in health, that would include trimming my toenails? She certainly didn't. She was like, I didn't sign up for this. I think she did, though, but sleeping was actually particularly horrible for me since laying down was agonizing. I dreaded nightfall because I knew that while I would fall asleep from exhaustion, I was going to wake up in a few hours with my side throbbing and then have a restless, uncomfortable, sleep-deprived night. During this time, my father, who suffered from Alzheimer's, deteriorated rapidly and was hospitalized. Upon consulting with his physician, and this is still hard for me to share this, we were advised that he needed to be placed on hospice services, which typically means that someone has around 6 months left. I asked the doctor, how much longer did she think that my father had left? And her reply left me shocked and speechless. She estimated he had 2 weeks remaining. Even though he had been gradually declining for around 10 years, I thought that I would be ready for that moment. I was wrong. I wasn't emotionally prepared for that. You know, I guess it's true, when it rains, it really does pour. And the physician, she was right. He went to heaven about 10 days later. But brothers and sisters, it was during this particularly difficult time in my life that I was reminded of the power of prayer, and that there is and always has been a powerful prayer ministry here at the Garden. I had attended a few Wednesday night prayer meetings in the past, including when they had been held virtually. But when Brother Ray Chun encouraged me to go to a prayer meeting, I gotta admit, my first reaction was, hey bro, thanks, but no thanks, man. All these excuses flooded my mind. Driving is too painful. I'm exhausted on Wednesday evenings. And besides, if I'm being completely and brutally honest with myself, during this season, I was questioning God about why was this happening to me? And even further, I had my doubts that God even existed. Why would a good God let me suffer this much? Let me tell you, at 3 a.m. in the morning when the world is sleeping and I'm suffering, some dark thoughts would park themselves in my head. But Ray was like, I'll pick you up and I'll take you, man. So I ran out of excuses and I did go. You know, I was secretly hoping to experience miraculous healing and that I will be literally walking and leaping and praising God out of the church after that meeting. And although this did not occur, something as equally critical happened. And I'm getting choked up by this because I discovered that I was reminded that I'm surrounded by loving brothers and sisters in Christ who prayed fervently for me. And they started that process of mending my shattered heart. You know, these meetings occur twice a month, as Jin mentioned, and I started going regularly. So many times I wept as I poured out my heart. And oftentimes there were others who wept with me as together we cried out to the Lord, "Heal me!" Now I'm sure some of them were, well, after Sunday services as well, I would go to the front of the stage where prayer counselors are always available. And week after week, I approached them to ask for prayer. I went to them so much, I'm sure some of them were like, "God, heal this guy already, so he'll stop bothering us." I'm just kidding. Jen, you never thought that, right? Did you? If you did, it's okay. You know, no judgment, no judgment. But you know, they prayed for me, and they prayed over me each and every time. And each and every time, I was reminded that in this journey of life, I am not walking alone. We are not walking alone. There are people in this community, in this church, who love me, who love you. And they will take the time out of their day to pray for you, pray for me. All we need to do is ask, because they're not mind readers. They can't read our minds. They don't know what's going on in our hearts if we don't speak up. If you're a human being living in this broken world, you need prayer. And I encourage you to take that step. Attend one of the various prayer meetings held throughout the week here at the Garden and witness firsthand the restorative power of God. Thank you.